Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Couch Racing Chronicles podcast. My name is Channy, and basically, I'm the only guy who in this podcast who really just exists with like nothing else to do. I am like I said, I am the William Byron simp out of all of us here. And with my introductions out of the way, let's see who else is here, shall we?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Checker here. We just got back from Mexico City. We have a lot to talk about today, and let's have a good time. And just hopefully we don't see anything. Just stopped in the middle of the. We'll get to that in a bit. Anyways, we're gonna check on in. Let's see who else is here.
My name is Sunny. Coming off from the Mexico City weekend, and I've come to remind all you kids out there that hope is not real. That's what I learned. But we'll get to that soon enough.
What's up, AJ here? Team 17, I'm not fucking awake for this shit. I overslept, so I'm just hanging on by a thread. Don't mind me. Anyways, no, I'm just kidding. Team 17, Twitter admin, as always, host of the show. Welcome back from Mexico City, everybody. So how was everybody's weekend at Mexico? I don't know who I want to pick first on this one. You know what? Nah, I'm going to pick Sonny on this one first because I got to call him out. What the hell were you guys doing?
I don't know what we're doing, but I have an official apology list towards these following drivers: Kyle Larson, Justin Haley, AJ Allmendinger, Chase Briscoe, and don't forget Zane Smith. That's my bad, y'all. That is literally our bad. I can't come up with an excuse. We just bombed the first quarter in the rain and took like 5 guys out. So that's our bad. Now back to the drawing board.
Said you took 5 guys out. Did you take them out for a nice juicy hamburger?
Can't forget the fries, if you can afford them.
You can't. No. If you're gonna get fries at 5 guys, burgers and fries, you're gonna be cutting off your left arm and selling all your fucking organs.
For real.
Anyways, Channy, how was Mexico City?
Mexico City was alright. I think we got a stage win?
Yes, with Ryan Preece.
Yeah, for Ryan Preece. But I feel like Mexico City was a good day for me.
It's a good deal. Also, real quick before I get to Checker myself, I forgot to do this in the intro, but shout out to our lovely person who's recording this episode today, Miss ISO. This is her first episode. She's in the background. She can hear us, but she's not talking. As always, we thank her for everything that she does, and we appreciate her. Us? Yes. Us, we finished 10th in Mexico City. I don't really think we had a car to win. I was just glad we got a top 10 because the car started to really fade on the long run there, and the 41 was being a rolling roadblock. I mean, okay, I'm going to give Cole Custer the benefit of the doubt because, I mean, you're up there and you have a shot to win, and you want to be that rolling roadblock, right? So I'm not going to fault him for it, but at the same time, he was holding up a lot of people and cost us out of potentially getting a top 5. So it is what it is. We move on, and we learn from it, right? So, Mr. Checker, second at Mexico City, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, besides waiting, just parked in the middle of the field, wait for like my Wendy's order or something. Besides, I won't get into that until like later. But honestly, I'm happy with Bell. No, I mean, we have poor performance. Of course, we had poor qualifying back qualifying, but we actually came out in second place. I was like, okay, pretty good. Happy for Bell. I mean, I could have. If we had more time, we could have got there. But of course, the 88 got to us. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm proud of the 20 team and what they do, and let's keep on moving forward with the 20 team and my rest of the squad. So let's have some fun, coming up with Pocono, and let's get this party started.
Talk about SVG for a second because he gave the field a classic built-to-ass whooping, dude. Won the race by almost 16 seconds?
I think that was the margin, yeah.
Holy crap. I saw something the other day that kind of sparked my interest about this a little bit. We haven't had an ass whooping like that in God knows how long. Since probably when Truex was in the 78 car, right? Because I remember we had Kurt Busch when he won at Texas back in 2009. He won by nearly 30 seconds, which that's insane to me in this day and age. But no, it's just that I mean, I'm not going to fault SVG at all because we all knew coming into this weekend Trackhouse was going to be really strong with Suarez and SVG. Not really sure about what happened with Ross there, but I mean, we all kind of knew this, right? So, I mean, yeah. What were you going to say, Sonny?
Yeah, it was like Sonoma, like 2018. Truex was able to win by like more than 10 seconds, like about 12, I think.
Yeah, and also Auto Club too from that year as well.
Yeah, 2 races that year.
Mm-hmm. That was on that list too. There was another one on that list. I have to go find it, but I have to go find it. I know Jeff Gordon was on there. Jimmy Johnson was on there. I just don't remember off the top of my head. I totally forgot to save it, and I'm just like, I'll bring this up somewhat in the podcast. So anyway, so did you guys think, in your personal opinion, was Mexico City a good race?
You know what? It was. It was. It was nothing too.
Okay.
Yeah, it was nothing too extravagant in terms of racing action, but you know what? I've come to just accept what the next gen gives us. So, plus, like having a lot of the culture and the hype to this race surrounding it pay off to a really fun day throughout the weekend. It was pretty fun. So, I don't mind coming back here for another year.
Yeah, so here let me touch on that for a second. If we're gonna come back to Mexico City, I've been hearing this throughout the total consensus throughout the week. We need to do it after an off week, right? Earlier in the season, after an off week, or even just like we can't have a stretch like we just had, right? Because keep in mind, the haulers arrived to do the swap at Michigan on Sunday for that race, left for Laredo Monday morning, and crossed into Mexico later that day and did not make it to the track till Tuesday afternoon, which, I mean, that's good. That's over 1,400 miles. The drivers, the hauler drivers have been out on the road for nearly 2 weeks now, and they got to come back and go to Pocono. So, I touch on this a lot, but you got to give the drivers some credit here because the drivers, the teams, the hauler drivers, everyone a part of this deal, you got to give them credit because they're being away from their families for a very long period of time, and this is kind of a busy sport, right? We're not like the NFL. We don't have bye weeks. Well, I mean, we do, but we don't have like a bye week every couple of weeks. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, this is what we agreed to. I say this like I say this like I'm part of the sport, but I'm just an average fan. But what I'm saying here is we need to plan this a little bit better, right? So I hope NASCAR takes this experience and works on it a little bit more better, right? And especially, the domestic flight situation, right? And we'll get to that later in the episode. But it was just that whole week. The whole week leading up to this was just chaos, dude. And I feel like this could have been planned a little bit more better, if I'm being honest, right? So, but I mean, you can't really fault them at the same time because of the binding the bind they were put in to making this schedule last year, and they knew this Mexico deal might have been a little bit more trickier than it should have been. But I mean, I think you want my take on this? You want my take? Have Coda in March, do an off week, then go to Mexico, right? So you have the teams, give them a week to refresh, get them a week to get the cars ready, to go to Mexico and go through customs. Boom! You're in Mexico the following day, right? So, enough about me yapping about that, but I think it was a good race. I mean, just a classic. I mean, it was just a classic belt ass whooping, right? We see this very rarely nowadays in the next gen. We do see it a lot in the Xfinity series and the Truck series, but not really so much in Cup anymore. So, I mean, everyone's like, oh, the race was mid because 3G won by like 15 seconds. Dude, that's how it was like back in the day. And you complain that we want races back like how they were in the 70s through the 90s. I'm like, you guys bitch and complain when we have a winner that wins by almost 20 seconds, and you guys call that shit mid. Was I hoping for a caution? Yes. I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I was hoping for one, right? So, anyway, anyone else to go? Crickets?
No, I don't really think so.
Checker?
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, it is experience. I mean, it was an experience, like going international for a Cup Series race since like what the 19 what was it 1980 60 what was it?
So, the last time the Cup Series went international on a points-paying basis was the 1950s.
Right. It was a good. I mean, besides everything that happened for both weekends, I thought it was an okay experience. A different feel going into the weekend. I was like, okay, maybe we could have something incredible. That I mean, they delivered perfectly, and Prime was on point, of course, with the coverage. I love that, and I think that if they change up just a little bit of stuff, and like you said, have an off week, before the next time they go to Mexico, I think, yeah, I'd say that's just my personal take. But overall, good race, and that was an amazing experience.
Now, so I do want to touch on that. This coming race here at Pocono is Prime's last race. Do you guys feel like Prime deserves more than 5 races a year?
I remember we discussed about this during the debut episode of the podcast. I can't explicitly remember what exactly I said, but I do remember the idea was that I really love the presentation and aesthetic they give towards the sport and on the Cup Series level at least, and propping it up to kind of like that old school feel. And I'm like, I feel as if they can work out like all those minor nits and kinks and everything, then I would be down to have more Prime races. They have a lot of fun doing it, so why not?
Yeah, I know we touched on this in the first episode, but I wanted to bring this up again because, with this episode, this is going to be the last, race with Prime before we go to TNT, then NBC. I was just curious if we had any changed opinions on it, right? Because I know I was the only one who really, well, besides Sonny, we were the only two that have really seen almost all the races held on Prime. And in my opinion, I think it deserves more than 5 races. I made this very vocal on Taylor Kitchen's Twitter post, and I really do believe we need more than 5 races on Prime, right? I feel like we need at least 2 crown jewel races in there, right? It doesn't matter if it's a Daytona 500, it doesn't matter if it's a Brickyard, the Coca-Cola 600 definitely, because that sealed the deal for a lot of fans. Maybe the boomers, but that's a different story. But I don't know, man. I would maybe the Bristol and Ag race, that would be cool too. But I don't know. I feel like with Prime there was this like resurgence of hope I've had for the Cup Series that I haven't felt since probably the 2010s. When before Fox went to shit, right? And I was excited. It was a total breath of fresh air. As a fan and on a broadcasting perspective, that we're getting this good of a quality broadcast, and what's the word I'm looking for here? It felt like I was watching NASCAR on Fox in the early 2000s. I don't know if anyone. Well, I don't. I say everyone. I don't know if Sonny feels the same way I do, but back in the day, man, NASCAR was peak at commentating back then. Do you feel that way?
I most definitely feel that way. Like in my opinion, like a commentary booth should like have that. There should be that balance between delivering what's happening in an authentic way, but also just like having fun with each other, like building your chemistry, like helping up one another and putting over another. So like just bring like this unimaginable vibe and like give you a reason to turn on your TV and excitement and hear those voices as you watch your favorite drivers go at it. So like I'm really down to seeing that kind of era return, and I hope Prime, in at least some semblance, takes a step in that direction.
Yeah, I feel like TNT is going to be a definite breath of fresh air because this will be the first NASCAR race with TNT since 2014?
Yep.
Oh yeah, 2014. Hey, gee, I wonder what happened the last time we had TNT. Oh, I know this wasn't the last time, but the only time I can remember when Kyle Busch looked over at Daytona. Just having a good old time here.
Yeah, yep.
But anyway, that's enough ramblings from me. Why don't we get into green flag, red flag, Checker?
Yeah, let's get that done. Okay. I gotta put down my Smirnoff before I start talking. Okay.
Bro was literally drinking alcohol in the recording of a podcast.
Well, with the topics we have to talk about, and some topics later, I'm gonna need it. Anyways, let's get down to business here on green flag, red flag. Green flag, red flag. Daniel Suarez wins the Xfinity race at Mexico City, which is his home country, in a backup car. Daniel started dead last and rallied to the front to win it all after a intense battle with Taylor Gray. Green flag, red flag. You know what? I'm going to start with Sunny on this one.
Yeah, green flag. I was completely down for this win. And yes, like, yeah, obviously, like, the full circle moment, but, like, is it me, or did I feel like Daniel Suarez was, like, genuinely happy after the win? Like you could see in, like, his interactions with the fans and just, like, the way he was excited, like, he felt genuinely excited and pumped about the win, and, like, I feel like that just brings something that just brings me joy. Like, a driver just genuine passion and excitement following a victory. And you consider the circumstances he had to do it in. Like, in practice, he wrecked his primary car, almost didn't qualify for the race, then got a provisional to race in the backup car, and then he goes all the way up to the front, takes the lead late in the final stage, and then just basically goes on to win. And that last lap battle with Taylor Gray, too, it looked like he was going to have at least a shot at him, but obviously, this just a really good finish. Like, I was all for it, and just seeing Daniel come all the way back, getting the win in his home nation, and just celebrating with the fans in the crowd, that was just a huge victory for the weekend entirely. Green flag.
Yeah, I'm green flag too. First and foremost, I got to say, was this more of a popular win for Daniel besides when he won at Sonoma in the Cup race in 22?
I would like to believe so, yes. I think this is more of a popular win.
Because the reason why I say this is because Freddie Kraft said it on Dormo McClear. You could hear the entire stands throughout the entire track. Everyone was cheering him on when he took the lead. It felt like we were at Talladega when Dale Jr. took the lead anytime we were there. So, definite green flag. I mean, red flag about the fact he had to go to a backup car because that primary car was fast. And it was really unfortunate because that was a beautiful paint scheme. And you know how it is. When you have a backup car, you can't put a livery on. Don't have time to do it. So, I mean, I imagine Quaker State is probably seething really hard about it, which, I mean, understandably so. But, yeah, winning in your home country after the first time we've been there. Well, that series has been there for the first time in like 16 years. 16, 17 years. That's great for them, right? I mean, Mexico City has a lot of fans. Mexico in general has a lot of NASCAR fans, and it does not show, right? And I say it doesn't. It doesn't really get shown on a regular basis because we haven't been there in a very long time. And I feel like this win, in my opinion, was probably, if not better, or as close to as Dale Jr. winning at Talladega in front of a lot of rednecks. And I say that lightly because let's be real here, people. Come on. I mean, Junior was Dale Jr., Dale Sr., they were both embraced as gods at Talladega. And that's why we hear the phrase, praise Dale, raise hail, praise Dale, right? And in this instance, that's what Suarez did in Mexico. He did what he needed to do. Green flag. Channing?
Yeah, Chan.
I really gotta say green flag about this because winning in your home country is really one of the biggest steps that you could do as a as like a professional. Let's say like you're a I'm just using this as an example. Let's just say you're a professional wrestler and you win in your hometown or home state. That is a massive achievement in your career. So I definitely gotta say green flag about Daniel Suarez winning in Mexico City.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Daniel. It's an incredible achievement. It's really damn surprising how that man started a backup car and then he just drove through the field like candy. That man, I'm happy for him. Awesome winning in your home country. Of course, you raise your head up high because before you were a former Xfinity champion internationally, and just winning in your home country is similar to his first Cup win. I'm happy for Daniel, honestly, and he did a really great job. And overall, I think I'm really curious what's next for Daniel Suarez moving forward. And overall, good battle with Taylor Gray. Taylor Gray put up a hell of a fight, but either way, green flag all the way for Daniel Suarez's win at Xfinity for Mexico City.
Yeah, and I really thought the Xfinity race was really good. I mean, I didn't watch the entire race, but I know it went long in the beginning part of the race, and then it started to go a little bit insanity. I do want to touch on this real quick. I'm sorry, Checker goes to the next topic. What was Connor Zewich thinking? What was he thinking? Try to explain this to me. Did he think it was a good idea to dive bomb Ty Gibbs going into turn one?
My impression was that he wanted to get the early attack and try to drive away from him during the opening lap. Which I could see the concept, but like, there's still like 18 laps to go. It's not that time yet.
Like, did his car have damage too?
Yeah, I mean, he still like drove all the way up, but like he lost the track position that would have given him the win.
What an idiot! Like, what an idiot! Like, seriously. I mean, look, I respect Connor, and I think he's a very talented driver. But there's a time and place for everything, and that obviously in that moment in time, it wasn't it. Because if Daniel didn't get back up to the front, I easily could have thought Taylor Gray or Ty Gibbs would have won if it wasn't for Connor Zewich being Connor Zewich. So, I mean, you live and you learn. And I mean, I know he owned up to it, and I mean, it's just still kind of sucks because Ty was up front, had a really good car, was fast all weekend, and it's just the Ty Gibbs story of 2025, I guess. It's just God forbid he's always up front, and Zach's gonna crucify me for saying this, but it's just the way it is. He's always up front, and something always happens to him. It doesn't matter if it's the Xfinity race, it doesn't matter if it's the Cup race, it doesn't matter if it's a dirt midget from Chad Boat. I don't know what it is. But I hated it for him. I hated it for the 19 guys, really do. It is what it is. But, I mean, we're getting ready to go to Pocono for them, and Pocono's been known to be a good track for Ty, so hopefully they'll turn it around. Checker, go ahead with the next topic.
All right, here we go. Green flag, red flag. Shane Van Gisbergen's win at Mexico City on Sunday has officially locked him into the round of 16 into the playoffs. Before the win, he was 33rd in points, negative 130 points below the cuff line. Green flag, red flag. AJ, you know how much the 88 means to you. What are your? I actually wanted to ask you about that, and I also wanted to ask you about thoughts about the 88 being back in victory lane.
Well, first and foremost, I do want to say, unfortunately, as unpopular as this is going to sound, I am red flag for this. Okay, I'm green flag for SVG winning, obviously, right? Because we knew he was going to be the dominant car. Green flag. Well, okay, this is going to be more of a multi-part topic because this is going to be really confusing, and I apologize in advance. Green flag for SVG winning, right? Because he's good on road courses. He's the first New Zealander to win on a foreign road course for the first time the Cup Series has ever been there in a very long time. Green flag for the 88 returning back to victory lane because, as you know, I'm a Dale Jr. fan. It's a really big deal. The 88 has not been in victory lane since Alex Bowman won at California or Fontana in 2020, and yeah. However, him being 33rd in points and 130 points below the cutoff, I am red flag because this is basically the classic case of don't hate the player, hate the game, right? And this win in your in system is so flawed, all right? I've been saying it for years. I said it a lot when Harrison Burton won at Daytona last year. And no disrespect to the drivers, right? Because they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to win and you're in. And it is no different in this instance with Shane, right? But we need to have a better rule than this. We need to bring back the top 25 rule, and we need to stop preventing people below the top 25 in points. You know, I'm gonna name some names like Brad, hell, even Cody Ware, who's dead last in points out of all the charter teams. Could win a fucking race and be locked into the playoffs. We cannot have this. We absolutely cannot have this happen anymore. Right? Because it makes the sport look, kind of clownish in a way. And, I mean, again, like I said, props to SVG, got a second career win in the Cup Series, but it's kind of a sore image when the guy who is 33rd in points, or now 30th in points after the win, I should say, has a chance to go race for a championship. That doesn't set right with me. It really doesn't. I know I'm kind of an old school fan, and I've been around this sport for as long as I've been around. It's just it doesn't. I know it's the world we live in now, but this system needs some serious improvements. So I am definitely red flag on that, and I don't think you can change my opinion otherwise. So. Sonny?
Any point of conversation I can have about the playoff system and who actually deserves to be in or out have already been exasperated when I watched my teammate and a guy who was 34th in points win a race and get locked into the playoffs. One of them didn't count, but I just want to address that if Austin Dillon had made the playoffs, he would have bumped out Truex in his final season. Just let that sink in. So I'm going yellow flag. Yeah. Honestly, the way I see it, SVG just had a really damn good race, and I can't help but respect him. And in terms of the playoffs, that's just beating a dead horse. Just take that up with NASCAR, not SVG.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, Sonny. I apologize, but I've been seeing this a lot this week, and and it's the same people who are bitching about Harrison Burton, who won a Daytona last year. Why are we bitching about this? There are other more reasons to bitch about NASCAR. I mean, I know it's going to sound hypocritical because I just kind of bitched about it, but I'm not really bitching about it. It's more so I'm showing my displeasure. There's a difference between that and just straight up bitching, we have a New Zealander locked in the playoffs as 33rd in points. Shut the fuck up. Seriously. Were you going to say anything else before I cut you off? I apologize.
No, that's it. That's about it. I really don't have the capacity to go over this subject again. I've seen it everywhere.
So you're basically just avoiding to beat the dead horse. Got it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Checker?
Well, honestly, the dynamic, of course, green flag, of course, for Shea Vegas, Bergen, winning at Mexico City, hell of a performance. And it's awesome for Shane, out there doing what he's doing. He's a really talented road course ringer, but honestly, I'm just kind of on the same boat as Sonny with the yellow flag because we cannot keep pretending that that this format is so accurate. It's really not accurate because you're taking people who are like below, like really below in the deep waters of the points, and they have chance of winning, and they're just locked in. Like no, like there should be like a stretch, like a different like concept to the playoff format. And honestly, no disrespect to, like I said, SVG or anybody else below the cup line, but NASCAR just needs to kind of make a change. Of course, they're not because it's NASCAR, but it's just we need like a different stretch. We need a different like way to determine the playoffs more because just if you're like any of the Spire cars, like Justin Haley or something. Let's just say he wins a race. He's just right there in the middle, just locked in. Like there should be like a rule where it's like we should have like the lower the lower reads not automatically get locked in and everything. And honestly, I think it's just more of just me going on about NASCAR and their playoff, how shitty it is. But I'm not here to be a dead horse here, so I'm happy for Shane, but the playoff format is ass. That's all I have to say.
So let me touch on that point real quick that you just made about Justin Haley, and he's not really far behind SVG. Well, he's not really far ahead of SVG in points either. He's 29th in points, right? And say he goes out and wins, he's locked in the playoffs too. This is going to screw over a lot of people who are actually deserving. Well, I don't want to say deserving because everyone is deserving a shot to win a chance for a championship, right? But this is going to screw over the drivers like Chris Buescher. This is going to screw over Brian Priest. This is going to hurt Kyle Busch. Carson Hocevar, I'm sorry, I mean Public Enemy number 2. This is going to screw over Stenhouse. This is the problem I have with this format, right? Cars who actually have a legitimate shot of winning every single week are getting bumped and pushed down further below the cutoff because these guys who are like 25th or below in points are winning races and are locked into the playoffs. It makes zero sense to me. Channy?
I'm just blatantly here just to exist, so I might have to go in the middle. So I'm gonna say caution for this one.
Y'all flag? Gotcha. Alright, Checker, take it away.
Okay. Denny Hamlin missed the race on Sunday in Mexico due to the birth of his third child. NASCAR has approved his playoff waiver and remain playoff eligible. I mean, I'm just gonna get it out of the way first. I mean, first off, I'm just gonna say green flag because obviously first, congratulations to Denny and the family out there. Good for them, and honestly, I'm happy for them. But honestly, there's no long term to talk about. It's a short and simple answer. It's green flag because he's in the playoffs still. He's still doing his thing, and he's got a new member of the Hamlin family. We can call it the mini hamsters or something. I don't know.
Mini hamsters.
Anyway, I'm gonna pat. You know what? I'm gonna be nice. Chandy, how about you go on this one?
Okay, I'm sorry, but I gotta say green flag for this one because, like you said before, congratulations to the family of Denny Hamlin with his third child. So, and that I forgot what else I was gonna say, but yeah, green flag.
Green flag. I mean, that one should be pretty cut and dry. Missing a race and being playoff eligible because of the birth of your child, totally in for it, right? As much as I despise Denny Hamlin as a driver, I mean, he's a father. He has 2 girls and now a boy. He has 3 kids, right? And a lovely fiance. He has a beautiful family, and I'm really happy for them. And I definitely think NASCAR really made a good decision here. Now, this is also the same NASCAR appeals process that took forever to get Kyle Larson approved for a playoff waiver last year because he ran the Indy 500. Just glad they actually executed very fast on this one. And the fact that Ryan Truex was there to let me touch on that for a minute. Actually, I'm red flag for Ryan Truex, not because he did bad. It was more of he was thrown into the wolves, right? And he was involved in 2 different incidents, and that's. I mean, considering for the 11 bunch, that might seem like a bad day, but for him, that's pretty good. So, nothing more I can really say about that. It's just more of JGR after this. Well, not necessarily, because pregnancy, the birth of a child is very unexpected, right? Even though it is a long process, you can't just throw a driver who hasn't been in a Cup car in 10 years, because the last time Ryan Truex was in a Cup car was 2014 at BK Racing. You can't just throw him into the wolves. My brain just completely died. I'm sorry. You can't just throw him into the wolves and expect him to do great. And we need to. I say this to the people on Twitter. We need to lower our expectations just a little bit, because I didn't really see it a lot, but I saw people who were like, "Oh, Ryan Truex are going to Mexico City because Hamlin's not there." You really think that's going to happen? A driver who has 2 Xfinity wins, or 3 Xfinity wins, sorry, goes out and runs a Cup car for the first time in 10 years, or a little over 10 years, and you think he's going to win right off the bat? That's asinine to me. Totally, totally fucking asinine. So, red flag for that. What about you, Sonny?
I was just gonna get ready to mention the Larson thing. Like, I'm just really glad we didn't have a repeat of that, and NASCAR just kind of twiddled their thumbs on what to actually do. So, green flag on that, and just green flag for Denny having another addition to their family. Because I'm just gonna say this: like, as much crap and banter we give about hating and despising drivers, like, they're people. Like, if they're having a family, then they have the family. So, like, we root for them just as would we root for our favorite drivers. So, like, even with how much I despise Joey Logano, I am very confident he's a really funny guy off track. And anything that happens in his life that's positive momentum, I am all for it, because that's what we should all have. Like, we shouldn't let on-track antics take away from wonderful family stuff like that. So, I'm green flag.
Yeah, and I think that one should have been a no-brainer with everybody, right? And, Denny has done a lot in the last couple of years. Denny is a very successful individual, and I wanna touch on this for a minute. As much crap as everyone gives him, I don't think we understand what he goes through and what his day usually looks like, right? He owns a race team. He has 3 kids to take care of and mend to, and he has to look after himself at Joe Gibbs, right? So he's just as human as we all are, and small moments like that, you gotta appreciate that, because Denny is getting up there in age. He's in his 40s. My question to Sonny about this is: do you see Hamlin retiring in the next year or 2 years?
I think he retires, like, if he's genuinely confident that a championship's not going to be possible. Because we have the whole entire meme, we have the whole gag of, is this going to be the year Denny Hamlin wins a championship? But I think realistically, if there's just a certain point where Denny knows it's probably not going to happen, then he could just start making those plans on eventually stepping out of the full-time role and just managing 2311. So, like, honestly, regardless of what happens to Denny, it's been a hell of a career with lots of triumphs and adversity, and, like, honestly, championship or no championship, and when he wants to hang it up, I'm just really curious to see what happens next. Except the whole lawsuit, but yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, the fact that this is what amazes me about Hamlin's career, right? Hamlin has been with the same team since he started in the Cup Series back in 2005, and his part-time rookie year. Well, I say 2005. 2006, in his first full-time year. He's been in the same ride ever since. He has never changed teams. That is fascinating to me, right? Because we don't see this a lot in today's world. Because people, and people always change teams to find better opportunities, or they're worth a lot of money. And in this instance, I don't think Hamlin could really change teams right now, even if he wanted to, because I think he's in the same boat Kyle Busch was at JGR. He's just worth a lot of money. And FedEx brought a lot of money throughout his career. And, as unfortunate as I mentioned that, FedEx not being with him anymore, my question to Sonny about this as well, this is kind of a loaded question, but do you feel like after FedEx left, do you think he's been off his game a little bit, like performance-wise?
It's a bit complicated because the start of the year, like the very, very start of the year, it was kind of all over the place, but then he got 3 wins, like right off the bat, but that was also kind of the same situation last year because FedEx was slowly taking a downgrade of how many races they ran before they eventually went out fully. But Denny got 3 quick wins last year and never really won again. Now we're kind of in the same situation. Denny has 3 wins, so now we're just gonna have to see what happens and if he has a deeper run this time around. And, well, it's just, that might be what causes that aforementioned retirement consideration. If it's just going to be the same circumstances year after year, then I think that's what's going to push on this off-game performance. I hope it doesn't come to that, but, if it's just going to be the same thing, then that's what it might come down to.
Now, the other question I have for you is, I'm sorry for dragging this out, by the way, is because, we're kind of flying to this episode, and I kind of want to touch on this a little bit more. Do you think he's slowed down in performance-wise, too, because of his age?
That might be a good consideration, because the same thing has very well happened to Kyle, and it hasn't hit terribly hard as for Denny, but you could tell, there's moments. You could tell, when it comes down to those final ultimate races for the title, Denny doesn't have to get to the final 4. It's usually going to be, the Penske's or the Hendricks or even Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell has really just been the top dog for JGR these past couple of years, and Denny's still consistent. I see him with good cars every week, but, in terms of, right at the top where he needs to be if he wants to go for the ultimate goal, the ultimate glory, then I think he's taken some steps backwards.
Okay, I totally agree with that. Now, I want to ask a question for everyone here. Say if Hamlin does announce today, and this is totally hypothetical, that he's going to retire at the end of 2026. Who do you think would be a good candidate for that 11 car?
If I may go.
Go for it.
This is just me. Obviously, this would be more of a 23-11 thing if they were allowed to. This is just my strong candidate. Can we have Tyler Reddick? I'm just saying.
Logistically, I don't think that could work, right? Because because technically he wouldn't really be gaining much out of that. Going from your boss's team to go over to JGR, which is basically the team that is the main powerhouse for 2311, and you're going to your boss's old ride. There's nothing that really says, oh my god, this is the best thing that could ever happen to me. He's literally going to the same car.
I mean, I realistically thought, okay, well, I thought, you've seen Reddick's, performances on the track. You know how he's done in the 45. But I just thought, realistically, maybe he just needs, a step up, just a little bit of a step up, just to see what else he could do in the bigger chains, I'm just saying,
No, and I see where you say that, and I'm not disagreeing. Well, I don't want to say I'm not disagreeing, but I kind of disagree because he's not really. If that does happen, he wouldn't be gaining much. Is what I'm trying to get at, right? I see your logic, and I agree with that part. But what I disagree with him going to the 11 car, it would not make sense because he's basically going to the exact same ride he already has, and he would not gain anything out of it. You want to hear my take on this? And this is just me.
Yeah.
Put Corey Heim in the 11 car.
111 to another.
Put Corey Heim in the 11 car. Well, okay, not immediately, but this is just my thing. Get him out of the truck series. Let him run like a part-time Xfinity schedule like he already does right now. And maybe when Hamlin is ready to announce he's ready to retire, put Corey in the 11 car. Corey's a very, I know we all give Corey Heim a lot of crap for winning a lot of races, but, I mean, who doesn't? Let's be fair. He's a really talented race car driver. For his age. And he's very young, too. He's younger than me, right? And that's saying a lot. I think he is very deserving of a cup ride. But my personal opinion is I don't think 2311 is the answer for him. I feel like he would be a better suit for if Toyota decides to, continue to pick him up, because technically he is a superstar for Toyota in the truck series. Toyota would make a really stupid move and kick him to the curb, because Toyota has a habit of doing that to their superstar drivers, their younger superstar drivers even. And I don't think they learned from it, right? And I think Corey is probably the only realistic answer that is deserving of Denny's ride, if Denny does decide to retire in the long run, right? So that's just me personally. I think a lot of people are going to call me nuts for that, but that's just the way I see it. All right, we move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just double checking. Okay, yeah. All right, here we go. Green flag, red flag. On lap 73, Riley Herbst goes for a spin and nearly causes a wreck between him and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. after Herbst tries to get his car rolling again and nearly wiped out the two of them out. Green flag, red flag. AJ, what the hell was Riley doing?
Okay, look, I'll give Riley the benefit of the doubt here. The corner that he spun out, it was kind of a blind spot, but red flag. I mean, what the fuck was he doing? Like, you could have waited after Stenhouse. I mean, first of all, red flag because NASCAR should have thrown a caution for it, right? The fact that they decided to let it go green because, I mean, I get it's a road course and it's a single car spin, but that could have put a lot of people in danger. And that could have seriously hurt somebody. And I'm really surprised they didn't. They throw the yellow for. Well, okay, this is going to be an unfair comparison, but they throw the yellow for Carson Hocevar just sitting there after 2 minutes, but God forbid Riley was sitting longer than him, it felt like, and they didn't even throw the yellow. That was kind of bullshit. But I'm glad they didn't wipe out. I'm glad Riley didn't get hurt. Nobody got hurt. I'm very thankful for that, but that's just a stupid thing. I mean, I can't really fault him for sitting on the track, and because you can't really see, right? You can't really see out of the headrest of the cars, and he just misjudged it. But it was just, that was a really bad situation. And of course, of all people, it had to happen to Ricky Stenhouse, right? Considering he's under fire from a lot of things right now. We'll get into that later on, but I have to look back at the replay, and I mean, Riley was kind of put in that situation when he spun out. So, I mean, I can't fault him for it, but it's just more of, what the fuck? Like, that could have been really bad. So yeah, I'm red flag. That's all I can really say. It's just that was more of a bonehead move than anything, and that one's just pretty cut and dry in my opinion. Sonny?
Nah, I'm red flag. You basically put it you basically put my thoughts into words. Maybe it was a driver error. Maybe it was a driver error. Maybe it was if there was a spotter for like from that specific corner. I don't know if they were able to get spotters over there, but whatever it was that happened, I'm just relieved that nobody actually took major damage or serious injury to that. But that was like 5 seconds of that didn't need to happen. So red flag.
Actually, funny thing you just mentioned that. So actually, there was an issue with spotters throughout the weekend, as I expected. Spotters had no radios internal. The radios were a huge issue this weekend, as expected. Racing Electronics had to reprogram over 10,000 radios this week. 10,000 radios. You understand how big that is? Do you understand the magnitude of that situation? What's up, Sonny?
God damn.
The magnitude of that is because the reason why they had to reprogram all the radios was because none of the frequencies that a lot of the teams had for their radios would work in Mexico because you need a license. The license they had for Mexico was not there, and they had to use higher frequency radios for that specific reason. So I don't know if it was a spotting issue. Where did that happen? Turn 12? 12, 13? It was before the start finish line, right?
Yeah, it was before that. It was before that roundabout coming to the finish line.
Okay, so that would have been turn 13. So or turn 14 rather. I don't understand what the issue was here in this instance. So, I don't know if it was a spotter issue. I don't know if it was just could not see. I don't know, but jeez, that was a mess. Checker.
Yeah, just to put it lightly, like you and Sonny have talked about, like that was just that was a near disaster experience for Stenhouse and Herbst. That was like holy shit. I'm glad they got that refired. Like the 35 got that refired really quickly because that was a jump scare. I felt like a jump scare when the car just turned around, almost hit Stenhouse. But I'm glad everything was figured out, and I won't drag out too much, but I'm obviously red flag. That was kind of not the best move you could have did. And it was also kind of on NASCAR's, call lane you should have did a yellow flag, but honestly, I'm not going to drag it out, of course. I'm just going to make it short, but that's just, I guess, the wrong timing for both the driver and NASCAR officials up there on, just almost a disaster crash.
Jenny.
You guys just kind of took all the words out of my mouth, so I'm going to go red flag for this one.
That's pretty easy. All right, Checker, go ahead.
All right. Green flag, red flag. A commercial airplane from the Charlotte Douglas International Airport en route to Mexico City carrying several NASCAR drivers and team members loses an engine moments before takeoff. Wow, sounds like it's Final Destination. See, anyways, nobody was hurt, but this cost the team's valuable travel time to Mexico and flips the Cup Series practice and qualifying schedule, but also the Xfinity Series practice and qualifying schedule as well. Green flag, red flag, Sunny.
Okay. AJ tapped into this a little bit during the intro, so I'll let him do the big meat when it comes to his turn to speak. But simply because this was just a situation that really fucked with a lot of schedules, and as aforementioned, cost a lot of valuable time. You just put everyone in a scramble. But also for the fact that stopping this plane before taking off was the best thing that could happen, because this is really just off topic, but like, if you feel something is wrong, you have to stop it before it escalates, because if that plane took off with that engine problem, that God knows what could have happened. I can't just stress that enough. I'm really glad that issue was recognized and safety was taken before anything could have happened. So really, really, really thankful that no one was hurt from that. So just yellow flag. This is just a situation that was a lot messy, but we got the best outcome from it, in my opinion.
Yeah, red flag on this. I mean, I'm glad it got recognized immediately, and I mean, mechanical failures do happen, and it's a part of life. But wow, just wow. I mean, I'm glad that I think it was Delta Airlines. It was either Delta Airlines or American Airlines, the flight that they were on. I'm glad the crews recognized it quickly and they got it quickly resolved. But this could have been seriously bad. Like, imagine if they didn't recognize us before the plane took off, and oh boy, we would be in a world of hurt. And I say that lightly, but this just screwed up the entire weekend for a lot of people. So what that did was that forced Cup qualifying to be later in the day, or Cup practice, both practice sessions later on Friday. Right before we knew about this, we were recording last week's episode when we had Zach on here, and I remember I wanted to say something during the recording, but I was like, nope, saving this for next week. And it's ironic because literally 2 minutes after Zach was just talking about the practice, he was going to send me the practice and qualifying schedule, I got the tweet about that. And this was just a messy situation. This whole Mexico weekend was messy, and I really hope NASCAR learns from it. But I'm just glad nobody was hurt. That's the biggest emphasis out of this. Nobody was hurt. Nobody injured. This could have been, like I said, this could have been a whole lot worse. And unfortunately, you can't really do anything more to prepare for an engine blowing up, because an airplane engine blowing up is a whole lot different than a race car engine blowing up. So, just a tough deal overall. This made national news, believe it or not. I don't know if anyone saw this, but this was all over NBC. This was all over CBS. This made national news. That's a pretty big deal. And as far as, the schedule's getting flipped, I'm red flag too. I mean, because that's valuable track time the teams lost. And I think it clearly showed I don't really still want to say it showed for the Xfinity Series, because they put on hell of a clinic, right? The Cup Series, they did a hell of a clinic too, but it's more so of this was just a very inconvenient situation. That's all you can really say about it. Before we move on to everyone else, I do want to mention this, since I don't know if I was the only one who saw this, but a lot of drivers got sick when they were in Mexico.
Yeah,
SVG was one of them. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say Noah Gregson, Ross Chastain. Who else? I'm trying to think.
That's the main three. The main four I can think of. But there were a couple reports of a couple drivers that were clearly under the weather. Shitting themselves. SVG. But it's just, I feel like, what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't know how to answer this. Like, I don't really have the knowledge of, how Mexico is, because I've never been to Mexico. But all I can really say is this experience could have been a whole lot better. Am I the only one who thinks that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course, I'm the only one who thinks that. Or yes, you agree this could have been a whole lot better.
I agree as well, because it could have been way better. But I honestly think some of the drivers need to call Anthony Alfredo for some dude bites. But
I think he was actually on that plane that blew up. Well, I say blew up. Let me start that over before I get canceled. I think he was on the plane that had the blown engine, because I think he was the one who tweeted it.
Yeah.
Still scary. Still a scary deal. What's up, Sonny?
I was gonna add on to that, even at Mexico, there was stuff going on with hotels and security. It doesn't look like there was anything major to come out of it, but it seemed like something was going on that they had to switch around and change last minute. So that was another thing.
Well, actually, speaking of that, going to hotels and stuff like that, I was listening to DVC the other night. Matt Weaver was on the show. For those who know who Matt Weaver is a journalist for Short Track Scene. Freddie Kraft had an experience with a prostitute. There was a prostitute. There was a prostitute outside of the hotel that they were staying at, and the poor Freddie Kraft. First of all, his wife, Freddie is married to his wife, Megan, right? And I feel bad for Freddie, because this is the second or third time I've witnessed but have heard Freddie Kraft has had an issue with being around prostitutes, apparently. Happened in St. Louis a couple years ago, now this. I can't remember the other time, but it's just... I heard a lot of people say a lot of negative stuff about Mexico, and just Mexico City. I mean, Mexico City... It's great, but it's also not great either. I've never been there. I've never been outside of the country, so I can't really say anything about it. But just Jace, just based on the general consensus I've heard out of everybody, no, it was not great. Good, but it was also not great either. Who hasn't gone? Channy?
Like I said before, all you guys took all the words out of my mouth, so like I said, and I'll say it again, I'm just here to blatantly exist. So I'm gonna go red flag.
Checker, you said your piece already?
I mean, yeah, I mostly said what I need to say. Honestly, I'm glad we did not have like a Final Destination real life. Thank God. I'm really happy that they caught on to that, and of course, it's just overall that was a hell of a experience for all of us, not only for the drivers, the crew, and exactly everybody basically on NASCAR, but also for the fans. We were all watching it all carefully and truthfully. Really not much to say except I'm obviously red flag about it. So yeah, I don't know. Cheers.
All right, the last topic. Oh boy, I am so scared. Green flag, red flag. Carson Hocevar and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. make contact on lap 85. The yellow comes out after Carson was stopped on the track as expected. Stenhouse paid Hocevar a visit to the car post-race saying, "I will beat your ass when we get back to the States." Now, after this, Carson went on Twitch when he did his iRacing stream and made some comments about his experience in Mexico. He was later fined by Spire Motorsports $50,000 and is required to do sensitivity training. Green flag, red flag, checker.
Wow, I'm already I'm already almost done with the can. Holy shit. I want to, like, that's the thing. Like, I want to, have of course, I don't have a long, note written down, but this got so bad to the point where I had to go to AJ's DMs, legit, go to his DMs and tell him I have to cut him off as a driver. That's how bad this topic is going to be. Like, the thing with Carson is, like, I really want to, of course, like, support him as a driver, but it's just, like, it's a pain in the ass, like, to see what, he, did all that with Stenhouse. Not to mention, this ain't Stenhouse and, Carson's, first time, Dan, with this whole, controversy stuff, but Carson, to put it in the short term, Carson's just digging himself a hole right now, like a deep hole. And honestly, whatever the case is between Stenhouse and Hocevar, whatever happens, of course, I am like obviously not cool with it. I'm obviously red flag, of course, on that topic. I'm really just amazed. I hope I'm kind of scared to find out what's gonna happen at Pocono, if something's gonna happen. If not, maybe sometime later this season. But honestly, truthfully, I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't think we say this often, but we were just discussing. All of us were just discussing about another ranking to be introduced to the podcast, and we're going to talk about it today, right now. So, introducing Blue Flag, which means this is so. It's not because on track, with Carson, and Stenhouse. It's more of Carson's, comments on the live stream about that. Of course, I'm not going to read off because I don't want,
It's on Twitter. Everyone has seen it.
Yeah, everyone's seen it. We don't want to obviously repeat what he said, but honestly, well deserved. Well deserved from Spire, of course, to give Carson that fine. It's really. That's shitty behavior. Honestly, that's shitty behavior by, Hocevar for the way he, talked and acted online. And it's so, stupid that Carson knows better. Come on now. Like, you don't need to, like, say all that shit all because you're one bad experience, at one race, plus, other things. But I'm too, like, frustrated right now. That's why I've been, drinking all this can. of Smirnoff, and just thinking about it, I'm just disappointed. At Carson, I really looked up to him as a driver, and I'm really hell of a disappointment at Hocevar. I'm not going to drag this on for too long because I know everyone else has a piece of their mind, like Sonny and AJ, which I'm going to get to. They can get to them in a second, but I'm just going to say this right now. Red flag on the Carson Stenhouse thing. Hopefully, whatever happens, hope that shit gets figured out. And blue flag, the high, like the lowest of the low for Carson's behavior, and honestly, well-deserved fine against Hocevar. I am so fucking disappointed, and I'm so sorry I had to rant about this. So yeah, whoever wants to go next, AJ, Sonny, up to you guys. Go ahead.
Sonny, if I may.
Go ahead.
I'm going to put this simple. I'm going to break this down for you. As far as the on-track activity, red flag. As far as Stenhouse going up to him and saying he's going to beat his ass when he gets back to the States, red flag. If you're going to beat his ass, do it right there and now. Okay? Do not go out and tell people, oh, I'm going to beat his ass when we get back to... Just fucking do it. Stop going to people and saying, oh, I'm going to beat his ass when we get to Pocono. Just fucking do it right then and there. Don't say anything. We've been ranting about this shit for years, and I have to rant about it again. If you're going to say something, then actually fucking do it. As far as the Spire deal with finding Carson, green flag. This was the total right thing to do. Because you cannot just go to another country and insult... You cannot go to another country and insult their culture like that, right? And that's... ISO said that in here, and I definitely 1000% agree. That's like saying we're going to China and race in Formula 1 and you insult the food there and the culture. That's really disrespectful. I know Carson is very young and he doesn't know all that well, but that was ridiculous. What he said on Twitch, I did not catch what he said, but I read all the comments. Absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. All right? Because you are probably, arguably, one of Spire Motorsports, and you go out on the internet and bash another country like that because you had one bad experience. And he's not the only one who had a bad experience with this too. And I will get to that in a minute. But you cannot be doing this. So I feel like the fine was very suitable. Do I feel like he should have gotten suspended? No. Because a fine should have been more so of, hey, you got to do better than this. Because this is ridiculous. Here's the issue I have with Carson, alright? And then goes out and apologizes. Well, I mean, good for him for apologizing, right? But the fact that this has been an issue going on 3 years now, I'm getting so sick of it. It's making it harder and harder and harder for me want to root for him. And I have very high standards when it comes to rooting for another driver. And he is absolutely killing those standards on a very bad level. And it's unfortunate because he's a really talented race car driver, but his on-track antics are complete and utter dog shit. And I don't think I can be the only one who could, see this, right? Because he causes these BS cautions for the sake of trying to manipulate the race, and we're going to act like it's totally okay. And here's the other thing that pisses me off. People compare him to Dale Sr. And Tommy Baldwin said it best on DBC. There will never, ever be another Dale Earnhardt. So I really don't want to hear that. I'm getting so sick of hearing that. And it's kind of insulting. Because it's insulting on what Dale did in the sport and his legacy. And you're gonna compare him to some punk kid from Michigan. Are we serious right now? Like... You're serious with that shit? Because he did this shit when he was in Nice. He's done this shit, and he still does it. You know what? I'll tell you what. If we're really going to get this through this kid's head, that he needs to slow down and behave himself, because he's a good kid. He's a good kid, he has a big heart, and he cares. He knows he's screwing up. Why does he keep fucking doing it? Why? Why? What are you trying to gain out of this? What are you trying to fucking gain out of this? You are gaining absolutely nothing but just straight up controversy on yourself, controversy to your fan base. You are causing more that does not need to be caused. And look, I lived through the Kyle Busch era. I lived through Ricky Stenhouse's, I like to call it evil teenage arc, right? I lived through a lot of this, but this is just bad. Like, I mean, I am just really disappointed. I'm really disappointed in Carson. I never really rooted for him before this, but this just lost every single chance that I could ever possibly want to root for him. So, I'm just red flag on the entire situation, besides Spire doing the penalty. Do I think NASCAR should have gotten involved and fined him as well? Absolutely. But I don't think a suspension was worthy for this. Because, he didn't do anything. He didn't cause a fight, right? He just caused an on-track annex. And these are the same on-track annex that have been pissing me off for the last couple of years about Carson. We need to get a veteran driver like a Ricky Rudd, a Kyle Petty, drivers who raced in the era that I grew up around, that you need to learn respect. I know that's asking for a lot in this day and age, but we need to bring this back. We need to get these veteran drivers in a circle and get them around these younger kids and teach them a little respect, because this is getting way out of control. I'm going to let Sonny go before I lose my mind. The sigh says it all.
I'm just gonna put red flag because there is way too much that I could tear into. But all I'm gonna say this is that these past 4 weeks we've seen the highs of Carson Hocevar, what he can do. This week was This week was slipping on a banana peel and falling down concrete steps, all the way back to the bottom. I genuinely do not know what's gonna happen. I'm glad Spire's handled whatever happened on the live stream, and whatever Carson said he went to apologize accountability for. But in terms of the beef with Stenhouse, this is the second time he's hit him. So if he tries any more tomfoolery or chicanery with anybody else, or even, God forbid, he hits Stenhouse a third time, then the Kyle Busch incident is going to look like a minor scuffle. Like, someone is going to come in and just finally clock him in. They try playing the nice game, and then it's just going to come to a point where someone snaps. So, I'm trying not to waste my breath or give myself a headache from fiery rants. So, I'm just on red flag on this whole ordeal. It feels like we're in a soap opera right now, and next week's going to be the next episode.
So I have a question for Checker and Sonny.
Yeah.
Do you think, after this experience, do you think it's time for Carson to have a coming with Jesus moment, basically? Like I mentioned, he needs to get a coming with Jesus moment, right?
Oh no!
What that broke him a lot more than I wanted it to, but okay. Do you think this could have been more of a? Is this time for Carson to finally realize he's the problem?
Well, of course. Well, the thing is, yeah, this is all 100% on Carson, because you just can't keep, doing the same shit over and over and over and over again and think that nothing happens. You gotta sit in the middle of the box, and you gotta think to yourself, what do I need to do?
Problem?
Yeah, but say, am I the problem? What do I need to do if I'm the problem? Fix your fucking shit! That's what you need to do. You need to fix yourself up. You need to understand what you're doing right now is literally fucking up the sport entirely. You're fucking up, the ideal, the fun in NASCAR. Like, you just can't fucking keep going and just pretend like nothing's there. Someone is going to be after your ass, And you're going to be wondering why the hell did they attack me? Because you're doing the same shit over again, Carson. Like, for fuck's sake. It's just getting goddamn ridiculous how Carson, keeps doing this, shit and thinks to himself, oh, I'm still wondering
what it's no big deal.
Yeah, it's no big deal. It's fine. No, you're going to get your ass beat down by a bunch of drivers. Like, if you think to yourself for 2 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, an hour, days, months, years, think to yourself, what do I need to fix? And I need to fix it now before either I, get, obviously, do something stupid and it gets me, hurt, or you just, I'm not obviously saying that losing a ride and all that, but I'm just saying, it's come to a point where it's he needs to, fix himself up and all that shit. He needs to, sit down and talk to himself, what do I need to fix in order to be better on there? Like you said, he's a great driver on the track, don't be wrong. But the incidents, that's what just brings down, the credibility about him. That's what makes me really disappointed because he's a great driver. It's just I'm disappointed by how he is, on track incidents. That's just me. And I'm sorry if I cut you off, Sonny. I'm just fuming right now because I'm just goddamn disappointed right now. That's just me. That's just my take.
No, you good. Honestly, I think if it comes to shove, then I think that's what's got to happen. And I would know this because I witnessed both Bush brothers have this. Kurt's Jesus moment was more so just his attitude on the radio. It was never full-on track antics. It was just the way he was taught. He learned how to. Really glad he learned how to control himself and basically turned his career around. And then Kyle's come to Jesus moment. Well, first we dumped Ron Hornaday, and then we had that revelation. I think what's going on with Carson right now is just it's just that usual, not exact line, but the similar path of those younger hotshots. They come in and they have some stuff that nobody really appreciates or likes, and then they'll eventually have that one specific moment in time where they just finally stop and they just look at themselves in the mirror, just trying to see if they were the problem or if. It's really hard for me personally to explain it, but I think you can kind of get the idea I'm trying to go for. So I don't know what it will be. Maybe he comes to it on his own. Maybe Stenhouse finally triggers the fight, or maybe someone else does. So either way, if it happens, then the only question now would be, what will he do with it? I think that's my perspective.
I think I have to go back to Kyle Busch for a second. I personally think his come to Jesus moment is when he left JGR. I can't be the only. Well, I feel like Kyle Busch became a lot more humble and a lot more calm when he left JGR. Do you agree?
There was a different kind of presence about it. He kind of stepped into that composed and mature role as an RCR driver.
Well, it's because I think he realized how good he had it at JGR, and he left a top ride, I'd argue, to go to Richard Childress Racing. Do you think that mellowed him out a little bit more?
Yeah, it's just. I think the question now would be that does he? This is just something I've always wondered for a long time. Now that we've had a couple of seasons to think about it, but does he? I'm wondering if he still stands by that decision just to go to RCR. Even if he's not winning anymore, does he feel happier with a reset of himself, or does at some point, if maybe a far-fetched, near impossible reality of someone opens up a JGR and they reunite, repair their bridges, but it's just curiosity. Like, I want to see it. Like, as someone who's rooting for Kyle when he was despised by the NASCAR world, it feels genuine eye cleansing that a lot of people are really behind him now. So it's just really interesting to just follow this whole thing ever since when he announced he was leaving.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So moving back to Carson, what I want to say was, I think his come to Jesus moment needs to be with Rick Hendrick. Like how Rick Hendrick, there's a tale that Rick Hendrick scolded the fuck out of Ross Chastain in 2023. Do you guys feel like Rick needs to have that conversation with Carson as well?
I think especially if it comes to like the playoff season where Carson screws over a Hendrick driver from the Final Four. That Rick would not tolerate that.
Oh yeah, for real though. Like no, like if you fuck over a playoff driver, especially a Hendrick driver, like God for sake name like Kyle Larson or William. Oh good God, it's like hell on earth with the fan bases.
Now let me tell you this right now. I feel like he needs to have that come to Jesus moment now before the playoffs, because God forbid if he does do something in the playoffs and it like with Kyle Larson, oh, he's in a world of hurt. Talking about Hocevar, he's going to be in a major world of hurt, and it's best to get it out of the way before the playoffs even start, right? Because we're like 9 or 10 races away from before the playoffs start, and I don't know, man. I really don't, but something needs to happen fast. So, with that being said, let's move on to our picks for Pocono. Pocono. We have all 3 series running Pocono this week. This is going to be... Pocono's one of my favorite tracks. Always kind of has been, but with this next gen, it's been kind of in the middle. So, let's start with picks this week. I'll go first. For the truck race, I will take Ty Majeski. Xfinity, I will take Taylor Gray. And for the Cup Series, I will take Kyle Busch. My wild card, or my dark horse, this was going to say... I can already hear everybody in the VC is going to go, what? I'm going to pick Luke Baldwin in the Truck Series for my dark horse.
What?
What?
For context, Luke Baldwin is Tommy Baldwin's son.
What?
He drives the 66. Yeah, he's running the 66 truck for ThorSport.
Damn.
Yeah, so I got to pick Tommy Baldwin's kid for this one. I just saw what Isa said. But yeah, I know that was a total long shot, but I feel like Majeski's probably gonna have an improvement starting this weekend, hopefully, because oh boy, they've had a rough season. Taylor Gray, I feel like he's going to get it done at Pocono. He's been really good all year. He's been good on mile and a half, especially. And I don't know. I just feel really good about Kyle Busch breaking that winless streak. Pocono has been a good track for him. He won 4 races there. I feel good with my picks. Sonny?
All right. Well, I picked Kyle Busch again, but then look what that did last week. So I'm staying as far away just for jinxie purposes. Okay, so the trucks, I'll go with Corey Heim. Original pick, I know. Xfinity. That's right. This is going to be the day Sam Mayer finally gets that Haas Factory team win. And then Cup. Chase Briscoe gets his first win with JGR.
Your dark horse?
Dark horse. Chris Rutten. No, I'm kidding. Dean Thompson. I think he'll get like top 10, top 15.
Hey, that'd be a top 10 for Freddie, because that's Freddie's sponsored team.
Yeah.
That'll be good for Freddie. Freddie's been on, I know Bubba Wallace hasn't really been winning this year, and Dean Thompson's been doing really well. So, I mean, Freddie's having a good season so far, I'd say. But, Checker?
First up, Sonny, fuck you. I will spit out my alcohol after your comment. for real though, let's get down to the obviously the big three. So trucks, go with Connor Mozak,
Okay.
Xfinity. Give me. You know what? I'm gonna go a little bold on this, a little stretch, but give me Sammy Smith. And for Cup, I'm gonna go bold here. Give me Josh Berry as my cup pick. I just want to see how the 21 does. And my dark horse, you know what? This might be obviously a kind of an obvious one for me, but I'll pick Chase Elliott winning Xfinity. I think he's gonna get another win for the 17 team. That's just me.
I think Josh Berry's a really good pick, and I want to elaborate on this too, because he actually won at Pocono in the Xfinity Series 2021. Was it 21, Sonny? Was it 21? Or 22? I don't remember.
I would think 21. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was 21, because he had a shot to win it in 2022 and blew a tire on the overtime restart. The guy who just exists, I mean Channy. Who's your picks?
Yes, yes, I am now known as the guy who just exists in this podcast and just speaks whenever. Anyways, for the truck, for truck, let's go Tyler Ankrum.
Ooh.
For Xfinity, let's go with Garrett Smithley.
What?
What?
What the hell?
I'm sorry, you said what?
You said that's a green light car? What?
Your cup pick?
Anyways, my cup pick, I'm going to go a little bit bold. Give me Riley Herbst.
What?
35th in points.
The dude who is literally second to last in points? Okay, and your dark horse?
Give me Cole Custer.
Bro, what are you playing this week?
And I thought,
you know what? You know what? I'm out of here.
I was gonna say, and I thought I was drunk. The fuck.
No. I'll cut him some slack. Cole Custer's actually pretty good at poker now.
All right, that's fair. But still, Garrett Smithley.
Garrett Smithley. No, I'm just sitting here. I'm like, and I hear, give me Garrett Smithley. I'm like, you said what?
You said what? I'm sorry, no. I swear to God, if fucking the 14 team gets the top 10, I'm gonna actually crash out.
Now, wait. So let me get this straight. Is this the same Garrett Smithley that wrecked into Kyle Busch at Vegas in 2019?
Come on!
No, I was asking a genuine question.
I think it is.
Wait a minute. What is this? Channy! Channy, what is that name?
ISO told me to change it!
She meant it in a joking way, not actually do it.
Fucking went full send!
Okay, you're lucky nobody can actually see your name.
Yeah,
Good.
Thank God. Anyways, I think we need to get the fuck out of here.
No, let's stick around a little bit more. Let's pester Channy a little bit on his picks.
Yeah. Hold on. Okay, actually, wait a minute. Okay.
Nah, guys. Look at the time. I gotta go.
No.
I gotta go.
Sit your ass
Sit your
down.
bitch ass down.
First talk about
two.
Let's talk about his what should we talk about first? Let's talk about his Xfinity pick first. Let's talk about the main topic in the room. Garrett Smithley.
What is wrong
Listen,
with you?
it was a random pick.
Well, look, and I'll commend you for that, but you picked one of the slowest teams in the Xfinity Series. What is wrong with you?
You guys want me to change it?
No.
No,
Danny,
that was actually funny. This was actually
No, that was high. No, I'm sorry. That honestly made my day after reading about Close Board. That made my day.
No, Channy, obviously, we're giving you shit, obviously.
I know.
Okay, good. I was just making sure you knew that, because, I mean, the saying is, anybody can win on any given Sunday, and if Garrett Smithley somehow wins the Xfinity race on Saturday, I'm going to crash out on Twitter.
Chandler may actually have to host the entire show if Garrett's.
Yeah.
No, he's doing the entire podcast himself. I'm going on vacation.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to Cancun. See you guys later.
Shit, man, you gonna pass me one of those sparkling? You gonna pass me a Smirnoff over there, Checker?
Yeah, actually, I do have a cooler. I saw 4 more in there, so.
Fuck, man, I'll take
Shit,
one.
give
Are you
me
kidding me?
No, fuck that.
No, fuck you. Your Smirnoff privileges have been revoked because you picked Garrett Smithley.
Well, guess what? I have an ID, so I can get my own shit. So suck on that, bitch.
Okay. Holy shit, my head hurts. I'm having too much fun with this shit.
No, but on a serious note, we're getting ready to head on over to Pocono. That's been a good track for RFK over the last couple of years. I feel really good. Real quick, actually, speaking of RFK, did you guys see Chris Buescher's Cinnamon Toast Crunch car for Atlanta?
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. Dude, I've said this many times. I tell you this every year. I always tell you, Tim's like, every time we talk about, Chris Buescher's Kroger schemes every year, every month, we're like, all right, this is the best one. And then they come out and make it like twice as better. That Cinnamon Toast Crunch car is so beautiful.
I mean, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a good cereal, don't get me wrong, but they really, they blew it out of the water with this paint scheme. Like, y'all can keep talking. Let me go grab it real quick so I can show ISO and everyone else who has not seen it. But This is this car, this probably hands down is the best Kroger scheme I've seen all year. And
that's saying something.
That's saying a lot, because the Kroger schemes when Stenhouse had it at Hyatt, they were total dog shit. Look at this car, man. Look at this.
You know what you have to do now?
What?
Now you have to tell the RFK admin how, depending on how many likes your tweet gets, you have to. That's how much bowl of cereals you have to eat a Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
RFK admin, how many likes will it take me for me to buy a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch and eat it during the race thread?
you better be praying on your stomach.
This is the car, by the way, for those who have not seen it in the chat. This car is so beautiful. Listen. I'm lost for words. I remember waking up and seeing this car. This car is beautiful, man. They did a really good job on this, and I really hope it wins on Sunday. But I do want to say one thing too. Did everybody shoot card this week for Pocono?
Wait, do what?
Ryan Priest is running a Scott 1000 card for Pocono.
Oh, I never
the
seen
toilet paper card.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it earlier on RFK Twitter. I did see it. It's a nice car.
I agree. So I do want to actually touch on this. I have a question for Sonny. So, looking at the playoffs right now, which driver do you think is more likely to make playoffs?
It'd be easier to put in the guys who are already high on the bubble, like Elliott and Reddick. Those are basically locks unless half of the entire top 30 starts to win consecutively. Those guys should be fine.
No. I was talking about RFK.
Oh, you cut out. I couldn't hear it. Sorry.
You're good.
In terms of points, Buescher and Priest are the likely two. Brad is basically must win. It's a little bit complicated because at the start of the year, Priest was more consistent, and then the past couple weeks it was Buescher that had the more consistent runs. So if I tip my hat right now on who had to make it in over the other, it would be Buescher. But at the same time, like if something happens to one of these other guys, like Briscoe or Bowman, or hell, maybe all three of them just win themselves, and we don't have to worry about this conversation. So
really anything can happen. So I'll be happy if either of those guys make the playoffs. I'm hoping both of them make it in because I want to see them go far.
I think personally, all three. This is going to be a stretch. All right, this is going to sound really crazy, but just hear me out. I think Buscher's going to get in on a win. Ryan Priest is going to get in on points if he has a good stretch because he's got a couple tracks he's been pretty good at here over the last couple of weeks. Brad, I think he's going to get in on a win. I think he's going to either. I know I'm kind of foreshadowing this a little bit early, but if he wins at Atlanta or Daytona, I think that would be his best legitimate shot at winning. Realistically, right? Because Brad has just been good on the plate tracks this year and just has nothing to show for it, right? Because look what happened in Atlanta in February. He got taken out. But I really do think Brad is going to win at Atlanta or Talladega, Daytona in August. So he's going to be definitely on my radar next week. As much crap as I want to give Brad because he's 32nd in points, I feel his pain, but he needs to start thinking about winning, like now, because 32nd in points, 140 points below the cutoff. No bueno. Oof.
Yeah, that's a massive hit the panic button because I already hit after Mexico City. I hit the panic button on Brad because just ugh.
And the fact that Brad finished 25th, that means he's going to go out 10th in qualifying on Saturday. That's not good.
We're stuck in Group 1 too, so we're kind of cooked already.
We're in Group 2. I think we're going out 29th this week, which that's pretty good. I mean, after finishing 10th, which that means we're probably likely going to start up front, which that would be great, unless we have a shitty qualifying lap for some reason. But that's the thing I want to also touch on too. Buscher's been really good at qualifying this year. The lowest he's qualified all year is I think 25th, and that was or 22nd, 23rd, and that was in Martinsville. Or not Martinsville, sorry, Bristol. He's been really good at qualifying this year, and it's just the car doesn't really. Oh, what's the term I'm looking for here? The speed doesn't execute on race day. The only day it really executed was Texas before we blew the tire in Kansas. But I really do think Buscher's going to win a race here in the next couple of weeks. Mark my words. All right, with that, we got to get out of here. I don't want to sit here all day before my ass gets stuck to this seat. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Couch Racing Chronicles. As always, please comment, like, and subscribe. And we're getting ready to head on over to Pocono this week. And yeah, that's all I can really tell you. Let's just hope nobody flips. Let's hope nobody hits anybody. And let's hope to God Ricky Stenhouse Jr. actually beats Carson Hocevar's ass, please. So with that being said, we'll see you next week. This is AJ, signing out.
This is Sunny signing out.
This is Chenny, and we'll see y'all on the flip side.
This is Checker side out. We are off and away, and we are racing off at Pocono. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good fucking time.